Hello little buns, hello everyone. My name is Stef Sanjati and welcome to my home. First and foremost, what we're gonna do today is this really cool Pokemon Bulbasaur inspired makeup look. I recently received an Instagram comment from a person saying skull emoji, me waiting for the Bulbasaur video or something like that. And the only thing I could feel in response was, that's so valid. That's so valid of you. That's so valid of you, because I started this series like 5 months ago or something. So here we are. I'm doing it. It's late and I'm sorry about that, but I'm going to fulfill my commitments and I'm gonna finish this series, and I'm finishing it right now. So I hope you'll join me for this Bulbasaur inspired makeup look. But first, I have something very exciting to announce and share with you, which is that as of this month, I am officially coming back to content creation full time. I have been off and on streaming and posting YouTube videos and things, but over the last 3 years, well, that's been pretty regular, fairly regular, especially with streaming. I've actually also had a full-time job in the games industry as head narrative designer for a women-led gaming company. And as of January, I'm going to be transitioning out of that role and back into full-time content creation. And this is something I'm really excited about. This is something I really want to do because I miss being creative like this. I was creative in my role at Padia, and that's not something that I felt. I have no negative feelings about it. I loved it. I really did. But it's time for me to come back through. And if you knew me back then, you'll know I was a very creative person, but I also was a little bit of a chaotic person. And the time that I've spent in a more corporate environment, working as a team, working with other incredible women, I've grown a lot as a person. I've learned a lot about professionalism, commitment, what my word means as an individual and as a creative individual. And what I really want to do this year, my big mission, my big hope and dream for myself, and for what I want to do with all of you, is to grab that creativity and that expression, that self-expression that I used to be so natural at, and channel it through the goals that I want to achieve, through the person I want to be, not just chaotic creative energy, but directed creative energy. So I'm back as a full-time creator here on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch primarily. I'm also on Twitter and Blue Sky if you want more random in those places. But here, Instagram and Twitch are going to be my primary platforms. I would love for you to join me. And in lieu of a sponsor today, I don't have a sponsor for this video, so the sponsor will be Stef Sanjati's Twitch channel. Join me at twitch.tv/Stef Sanjati for gaming, hanging out, video games, in the voice of Lady Gaga doing that commercial in like the early, late 2000s, hanging out, shopping,
clubbing, nightlife, food, hanging out.
Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. I would love your company there. I'm really excited to get back there and just do some variety streaming. Lately, what I'm really interested in is classic hardcore World of Warcraft. So if you want to join for some gaming, join me there. Beauty is more here and on Instagram, but join me everywhere. I'd love your support moving forward, because going full time with this again is something I'm really excited to do, and I'm set up really well to do it, but I want to take it really far this time. And that means I'm going to ask for your support through the form of engagement primarily. If you like this video, please subscribe, please press like, please leave a comment. Those 3 things altogether is the most support that you could give to a creator, and I would really appreciate it. I really would. So if you have any questions or thoughts during the video, please leave a comment. I'll see you through it. But without further ado, because you've listened to me blab about full-time content creation for a little bit now, let's get into the makeup, starting with skin prep. Are you ready? Let's go. First things first, I gotta get these millennial emo bangs out of my face. And jewelry's got to come off because I don't want to get primer up in my jewelry. For my primer today, I'm going to use the e.l.f. Cosmetics Power Grip Primer with 4% niacinimide. This is what I've been using lately. I like it a lot. They have a new one though that's Power Grip Matte, and I'm kind of interested in trying that. I did just get into my glistening, glowing skin era. I was resisting it for as long as possible, but turns out it was futile. Resistance was futile, and now I'm all about the glowing skin, just in time for matte primers to be dropping left, right, and center. So we'll see about that. And another prep step I've been doing lately with e.l.f. is the Lip Exfoliator, I believe. I'm not sure exactly of the technical name, but it's like a sugar-based lip scrub. And I've been loving that. I love putting it on and just feeling the ripping and the tearing, rip and tear, doom vibes. It doesn't feel like ripping and tearing. It feels like a nice sugar scrub. And that's gonna dissolve too over time as I let it sit. While I do the next prep step for me, which is color correcting. I've been doing these e.l.f. Cosmetics color correctors lately. If you don't already know, I do, this isn't a sponsored video, but I do have a relationship. Girl. If you didn't already know, this is not a sponsored video, but I do have a relationship with e.l.f. Cosmetics, so I get sent all of their fun new things, which is why I use a lot of it, and I like it a lot. So these two color correctors have been a bit of a holy grail for me lately. This is the peach one and the green one, and I have some redness and I have some blue that I would like to color correct. So let's get into that. I'm gonna start with the green one for my red, and I like a little bit of that around the cheek area, and I like a little bit of that on my pimples. I've got this like gnarly one on my chin right now. She really is angry. And I like it on my nose as well. If you're unfamiliar with color correcting, the goal is to counteract colors in your skin that you would like to neutralize by using the opposite color on the color wheel. So if we have redness in our skin, if we want to neutralize that and bring it into a more neutral skin tone kind of range, we put green on top, a wash of green with this color corrector, for example. And my nose, well, that has a slightly green tone to it, actually is mostly just skin color at this point. And I'm gonna go on top of this with like foundation and whatnot. It's gonna completely neutralize the red under my skin, where previously, if I wanted to do that, I would have had to wear a much heavier foundation. And I'm actually gonna wear a really light foundation today. That is the power of color correction. And I really like these ones because they're super affordable. And they do the job. They do the job really well. I've got no complaints at all about them. Now for something like my acne, like this one right here, for example, is pissed. It's more of a scar. This color corrector isn't gonna exactly just, neutralize that by itself, but it does a little something, and that's fine with me. This spot on my chin, I'm gonna layer it a little bit and leave it mostly unblended directly on the blemish. I'm just going around it really carefully to blend out the edge. And I'm experimenting with this product to see if I can get more out of it, basically, by blending less. So there's my green color corrector, and now with the peach, I like this under the eye area to counteract the bit of bluey purpliness that I get under here, but especially on top, up here. It's also good if you have like 5 o'clock shadow. Peach is gonna be your friend for that. 5 o'clock shadow, dark under eyes, anything blue or purple in the skin. If you take that peach and just apply a thin layer, you're gonna have an easier time neutralizing those blue tones in the skin. I find this particularly effective under the eye. I feel like I could almost just use it by itself sometimes with like a daily makeup, like a light foundation and some peach color corrector underneath first, under the eyes. And the great thing about color corrector is if you use it properly, which is like just use enough to counteract the color, you won't have to go in with really heavy foundation or really heavy concealer. The skin feels lighter, it stays nicer, and you have less product on your skin. Win, 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 win. That's not just like win-win, that's so many wins. I can't even quantify it for you, okay? Don't you want to catch those W's? Don't you want to catch those W's? Color correcting, girl. And now that we've got our basic color correcting on, I want to set this with a setting spray before I put my foundation on so that we're not moving it around too much. And there is still, like, I'm gonna have to go in with concealer, especially on these blemishes and things. But I am enjoying the way that this is working for me lately. My setting spray of choice for the color correcting layer is the e.l.f. Cosmetics Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist. This is not my final setting spray at the end of my makeup, but I like it for this step. We're gonna let that sink in. While that sets, let's chat drinks. What do you got going on? Because I got two. In true ADHD fashion, I have two drinks. One for caffeine, because I am exhausted. I don't know why. My boyfriend's sick. I hope I'm not getting sick. Got a little bit of coffee. And I also got this bubbly. It's a sparkling water. What is it? Oh, it's a flavor. The flavor. Strawberry. Oh, cute. Strawberry sparkling water. That's my fun drink. And for hydration. And then coffee for caffeine, girl. There's that stereotype that people with ADHD need 3 drinks at a time. 2 in 1 with the sparkling water, okay? But what about you? How many drinks you got on the go? The color correcting layer is pretty much dry, like the setting spray is dried down. So I'm gonna go in with my foundation now. And like I said earlier, I've been loving the glowing skin look. I've been using the e.l.f. Cosmetics, shocker, Halo Glow Liquid Filter. This is a really sheer foundation and it's very reflective. It's got, I wouldn't say shimmer. I wouldn't describe it as it's got a shimmer, but it's got like a pearlescence to it. It's got a glow. That's really nice. So I like this for most of my face. However, for areas where I've got some more texture, like my acne, I'm not going to go in right like over it with this. I'm going to focus this on the outsides of my face, anywhere where my skin's really good right now, and then I'll use concealer to fill in the gaps or correct areas with acne. So even right now, like on my chin, I've got a little bit, but I'm not going right over top of this really big pimple here, for example. Just everywhere else. But I really like the finish that this provides. Like, look at the glow on the skin there. Obviously I'm going to powder and whatnot, so it's not going to be 1-to-1 at the end, but I really like the way that this makes the skin look. I've also really ramped up my skincare. I've been using a lot more hydration. I've been using oils at night and things like that. So my general skin texture has improved quite a lot. And that means that having more glow, skin looks smoother, because sometimes when you use glowy products on dry skin, it can really just show all of the texture irregularities and stuff that you've got going on. It can be a little frustrating, but the more hydrated and smooth your skin is from skincare beneath the makeup, the better those glowy products are gonna look on top. And I've been having some success with that, so that's been nice. And now for concealer, I'm gonna use the Lancome Teint Idole Ultrawear. My shade is Buff and Neutral. And mostly I'm gonna put this under the eye in my little triangle formation here, a little bit towards the back, and another triangle here. But I'm also dabbing this on my acne and anywhere where I want a little bit more coverage. So through most of my jaw here. Beauty sponge to blend. I got this concealer just by chance months and months and months ago, back in the summer, I think, and it just has served me so well. I really like it. I'm running low on it though, so if y'all have any concealer recommendations, I would love to know what you're using for a coverage concealer, whether it's for under eye or acne, or maybe it's multi-purpose. I know there's some good ones out there. What do you recommend? Let me know. I'm taking recommendations, please and thank you. Now for some contouring, I've been using yet another e.l.f. product a lot for this. This is their new 2-in-1 Camo Liquid Bronzer and Contours. So these are liquid products that come in a variety of shades. They actually go quite deep and quite light, so depending on what you're looking for. And the deeper you go, the more bronzy they get. So if you're looking for a true like taupe, grayish taupe contour, maybe not the right product for you, but if you want something easy to use that's going to be adaptable, they're great. They're fantastic. I'm going to start with one of the lighter shades. This is light. Shocking. Just going to swipe it right along my cheekbone up at the top here. I'm going to do one section at a time so it doesn't set too much before I get to blend it. And I'm going to go back in with concealer to add highlights and whatnot and refine my placement. But for now, I just want to add these low lights with my bronzer contour product under the chin, under the jaw, bringing it down. I like this product because it's so easy to use, but also a little bit goes a long way, which means this is going to last me a long time. My absolute favorite contour product I've ever used has been the Fenty matchsticks. They're incredible, incomparable, but I find I go through it so quickly. So that like little $50 stick only lasts me a couple months. Oh girl. Whereas this is probably going to last me like a year because you use so little when you're using it. Great for travel too. Really easy to use, really blendable. But if I had to pick a contour to use for the rest of my life, it would be the Fenty one for sure. So far, let's see what they do. Now, where did the back of my earring get off to? We're just gonna pop it in and just pretend that it didn't fall out. Can't find the back of my earring, so we're just gonna pretend that that's gonna stay. Cool? Cool. One really handy brush that e.l.f. has for nose contour is literally the nose contour brush. This is great because it has this really sculpting focused tip here. And then you've got a blending side that can be handy. So I've been loving this for contouring my nose. I found I've used less and gotten a more sophisticated results this way. So I'm just gently tapping some of my contour product around the nose where I want it. And then I'm going to go in with the sculpting end of the tool and just drag along my contouring regions. So along both sides of my nose. And then I switch to the blending side and it's as simple as just buffing it out. Easy peasy, girl. And if you know me, you know I like to refine my contour. So I'm going in with the Flawless Brightening Concealer now. And I'm gonna place that on both sides of my contour because smaller noses cast smaller shadows. So it's really important that your contour doesn't get too big. If your contour is really big, it's just gonna make your nose look larger. And if your goal is to make it look smaller, you want to make sure that your contour is tight. And then blending that out with a beauty sponge to keep it nice and smooth. One more thing I am going to do is go in with a darker contour shade just at the back of my cheekbone, just a couple of little dots. And I'm going to blend that out really gently because again, this goes a long way. A little bit goes a long way. I don't want this all over the place, just a little at the back. I'm now going to set all of this cream sculpting and coverage product with my Pure Peach setting powder. This is the loose setting powder. Again, I'm still not sure if I'm dispensing it properly. Maybe I'm supposed to tap it. Oh girl, that's working way better. Who'd have known? Gentle. Gentle is the way. Getting that on the back of my beauty sponge. I'm going to smooth out my under eye and then set that gently. Before we move on to the star of the show, the whole Bulbasaur vibe, with greens and pinks, eye makeup, lip makeup, blush, all that good stuff. Just want to make sure that my base is set in place really well before we go there. And I'm going to pay special care to bake the areas where I wanted more coverage carefully, especially this big ol' honker right here. Because with texture, like raised bumps in the skin, like acne, matte texture or matte finish is going to reveal that less than if we put like a shine or a glow over something lifted on the skin. If we do that, it's going to draw light and reflectiveness on that raised surface, which is it's going to stand out against the more flat surface of your skin below. So by setting that with a matte setting powder really carefully, we're just going to make it look a little bit more polished and keep all of that color correcting and concealing work in place better. Something I want to chat about that I've noticed is I'll look at like makeup subreddits and things once in a while, and I'll see girls posting their skin in there being like, can you help me? Like, why do I have all this texture? And it's literally just perfect skin with skin texture. And I think that there's been this really big problem, especially with TikTok and the way that we can edit our photos and videos now in such great detail. Like the power you have with Facetune to transform a video and make it undetectable editing. To smooth out your skin or have that perfect glass skin effect. Skin has texture. Really good people with really, really good skin, they have pores, they've got texture. I think there can be some unrealistic expectations of makeup, of what it can do. You're not going to erase a pimple with your concealer. You can lessen the appearance of it, you can color correct, you can make it a little bit less obvious. But I think something that we have to do is embrace the fact that we're human beings with flaws. If I see a really good beat on somebody, if their makeup is looking amazing and they have a pimple, the pimple doesn't take away from it. Okay? They can't control that. They can't make it go away in an instant unless they edit the photo, which is one thing. That's not a big deal to me. But I think that when we are thinking of our own capability, if you've done a really beautiful job with your makeup and you have a pimple, that doesn't mean you're not capable at makeup. It just means you have a pimple. You did a great job. I think we need to think more in that line. And obviously I'm talking about myself too, because I have been insecure about acne in the past, especially as a kid. But it's on my mind lately because I've seen a lot of younger girls posting about skin texture, thinking that they're going to have literally flawless glass skin. That's not real. That is not real. You can get something close with like hydration and some beautiful skincare, but it's always going to have texture. You're always going to have pores because you are a flesh box. That's a terrible way to describe it. Because you are made of flesh, because you are alive, you're living and breathing. Have reasonable expectations, okay? Major key alert, if you will. Sometimes I like to just do a little bit of brow pencil before I jump into my eyes, just so I have an idea of the framing a little bit more. I've been using Shocker, an e.l.f. Cosmetics brow pencil. This is the Ultra Precise brow pencil. I like it because of the really fine tip. You're always going to see me talking about Ultra Precise, or just precision brow pencils in general are my favorite. However, they've recently released a brow pen where you can really draw like individual hairs. And I really want to get my hands on that one. I want to try it. That's on my list. There, I'll worry about the brow tail later, but I've done the fronts. And the shade that I'm using in the brow pencil is Taupe, because I'm more blonde lately. I'll be going back and getting this even lighter again soon because it's kind of brown. It's not a problem. I want to be ash blonde. I want to get lighter. I want pale blonde. We're going for it. 2025 will be the year of Stef Sanjati returning to blonde hair. I promise. Now that I'm mostly done using my fingers for like primer and whatnot, I'm going to put my rings back on and we're going to talk about the things I'm going to use on my eye area. I always start with an eyelid primer, and the one that I've been using is e.l.f. Cosmetics Lock It Down Eyeshadow Primer. I've been loving this one. I heard somebody recommend the ColourPop one, which I would really love to give that a try. ColourPop has sent me a few packages since I started the Pokémon series, actually. None of them have had the eyeshadow primer in them, but I've got a few other goodies I'm gonna share with you in a sec. And maybe, if I ask pretty please, maybe they'll send me their eyeshadow primer to try as well. So I'm just gonna tap this in. The star of the show is going to be the Pokémon X ColourPop collab palette. This came out last year when I did the Charmander and Squirtle videos, and I probably said this in the intro, but that girl with the skull emoji saying like me waiting for the Bulbasaur video, so valid of you. I'm gonna do this video whether it's late or not, okay? So we're gonna use a lot of this, but there's other ColourPop palettes that I've been sent as well that I wanted to highlight, and that is the Fade into Hue palette and the Matte About Hue palette. And the Matte About Hue palette, as you can probably guess, is matte shades. There's a lot of gorgeous greens in here I'm gonna be using. And then we also have, with Fade Into Hue, a lot of gorgeous shimmers and glittery colors. I've used a little bit of like this bright glittery blue. This is incredible. It is so reflective. So I am gonna try to use a lot of the Pokemon shades that are in the right color family, but I also want to use those palettes because I think they're beautiful and they're gonna be really useful. My Pokemon palette has seen cleaner days, but she's not too bad. I've used the shit out of this white, but these greens here are what I'm most interested in for Bulbasaur, and that's where we're gonna start. Now, if we look at little Bulby here, he's mostly got this turquoisey skin. He's got these red eyes, a bit of pink in the lip, or the mouth, I guess, and this bright green emerald kind of plant matter on his back. The evolutions of Bulbasaur have a significant amount of pink, but generally the color family for Bulbasaur and all of his evolutions is green, turquoise, and pink. So that's what we're gonna work with, primarily green and turquoise on the eyes, but we need a pop of pink somewhere. So we're gonna keep that in mind. But in the meantime, let's get started with our green. I'm gonna begin by going into the very bottom color here called Fainted, which is a super dark bluey green, almost evergreen is what I would call it. And I'm gonna start sculpting out some shapes with that. Something I notice with Bulbasaur is he's got these cool spots. I might actually integrate the spots that he has on his body as maybe a design around the eye area, which could be cute, but also the shape of his back flower pouch. I think it's a bulb. Bitch, it's a bulb. That's why he's Bulbasaur. Oh my God, I'm 29 years old. Bulbasaur. I'm so stupid. Oh my God. We're gonna like imitate the bulb shape, okay? I'm so embarrassed. So with the dark green, Fainted, I'm gonna start by sculpting at the back of the eye. You know I like a winged eyeshadow. So I'm gonna start by sculpting like a little pointy little bit here. Kind of imitating the bulb, but also imitating every eyeshadow look I've ever done. So you tell me, you know, is this an original thought? I don't know. The important part is we are sketching out this dark back area with our Fainted eyeshadow. I'm gonna apply it as well right in my inner corner and down a little bit past my natural waterline point, and then as well just all along the lash line. And I'm gonna leave the majority of my lid blank for now. I'm gonna go in there with some other greens, but let's just get this depth sketched out first. Next, I'm going into the tall grass color right here. It's kind of a medium turquoise, kind of a bluey medium green, I would say. And this is gonna go in the outer 2/3 of my eye within this hollow shape that we've created. We're gonna blend the darker one into it in a bit to soften the color transition, but for now I just wanna block it out. Block, then blend, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna take that same color right on top in the front, just above where I put the dark eyeshadow in the front corner. Similar sort of blocking where I'm gonna blend it inward, but leave that middle because we're gonna put a contrasting shade in there. How fun! Before I continue, I'm going to apply a skin tone eyeshadow along the outside of this shape that we've developed so that I can blend sort of transition colors out of the green into my skin without it getting blotchy. So by applying this skin tone shade outside of my eyeshadow silhouette, I will more easily be able to blend the eyeshadow out. I'm just gonna go everywhere around the edges of the eyeshadow that we've built. Now going into that Matte About Hue palette, I'm gonna grab this beautiful bright green Gone Meta. Gone Meta. I don't know what they mean by that, but it's a gorgeous bright emerald green. And this is going to be pretty much the primary color I use to blend this out. So I'm using a domed blending brush, kind of a pencil shape, all along the edge here. You can see that's bringing a beautiful like emerald yellowy green in instead of it being more blue, which is gonna be great for bringing that grassy green in. Because what is Bulbasaur if not the quintessential grass type, you know? Gotta make sure we have that grass color represented. Back in Matte About Hue, I'm gonna dip into the bottom shade called Alley Cat, which is a very dark green. And I'm gonna use that again to define the deeper areas. Where I originally put Fainted, I'm gonna go back in with Alley Cat to reestablish that depth and just layer some more depth in there. I'm gonna blend it softer though. I'm not gonna go so harsh with it. I'm gonna gently blend it as I'm applying it, just with this angle brush, by stroking gently instead of placing so boldly. I can even go back into my domed blending brush here and just smudge along the line. Next to the Mad About Hue palette, I'm gonna go into this kelp shade here, which is the second darkest green. And I'm gonna sculpt out a little bit of crease definition here in the back. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. I want this to be not quite as dark as the lash line, but to have a little bit more depth. And then the same thing in the front, along the bend of my crease and down towards the eyeliner, so to speak. I'm not exactly doing a cut crease here. It's more so like I'm adding extra depth into the crease. And then I'm gonna go with a blending brush and some of that Gone Meta right along the upper side of the crease color that I just placed and soften the upper side. I still want a nice bit of definition on the inside of the lid. Now before we get involved in pinks, I just wanna go on top with a bit of that Gone Meta in the inside of my eyelid here. Basically on either side of where the eyelid is still blank, I want a little bit of Gone Meta. The way these shadows are layering and blending together is so fun. It's so painterly. I really feel, I think I say this every time I use ColourPop products, it feels so painterly in the way that they blend, which as an artist of various mediums, I've done painting. It's fun. I don't know how to describe it, but it's exciting. I really like this stuff. Now I'm gonna turn my attention towards the pink shock of color I wanna put on the lid. And something is really calling me to this color here. This is Prismatic. I want you to really see just how reflective and fun and gorgeous that pink is. This is from the Fade into Hue palette, but I need to give it a base. And something else ColourPop sent me was this Jelly Much Gel eyeshadow in the shade Close to You, which is a pink. And I'm gonna open this so you can see. It's this creamy, well, I suppose it's gel, not cream, texture eyeshadow. It says to apply it with a brush or your finger. I think given what we've got going on here, I'm gonna use a brush. And then I'm gonna try to top it with this prismatic, gorgeous shadow. So for careful application, I'm gonna use what is basically a lip brush. I'm gonna dip into this gel eyeshadow. Let's test it on the back of my hand first. Okay. I'm gonna actually pull it from the container, put some on the back of my hand, and then pull from there because that's gonna be easier to pick up. Okay, so I've got some on my brush. Let's give this a try, y'all. I'm going to apply that right in the center. Okay. I'm creating that really like anime highlight shape. I don't know if you can see that, but it's very specifically placed. And then on another identical kind of shaped brush, I'm going to pick up the prismatic shadow, which is really loose once you disturb it. And I'm gonna press that into this jelly eyeshadow, and hopefully it's gonna act like, almost like an adhesive to grab and hold that beautiful pink glitter. And then I'll take my eyeshadow brush with a bit of green and soften the edges of this so that it's more precise. There, like taking off the excess glitter, basically, flecking it off. And we've got that little pop of pink. I think that's gonna work. Let's try that on the other side. This almost feels like sprinkles going on my eye area. It's really textured and I can kind of physically feel it. So if you like really light feeling makeup, maybe don't go in so heavy with this stuff, but it's really cute. I really like it. Feel like we got something going on there. I'm gonna let that sit. I'm gonna start working on my lower lash line. And to do that, I'm gonna use one of the other Pokemon products from their collab. This is one of the Super Shock shadows in the Bulbasaur shade, which is called Solar Beam. And this is really pretty. It's this gorgeous iridescent green and pink, just like the color palette I talked about. I'm gonna use this in combination with an e.l.f. Cosmetics product from the liquid metallic eyeshadow line. Actually, sorry, this is the duochrome liquid eyeshadow, which I haven't used much of, but look at this color. For lack of a better way to describe it, it's like an oil slick. It's like green and pink. How would you describe this? Like iodized titanium? Is that what they do to it to make it look like this? I don't know. Ionized? Iodized is for salt? I don't know, girl. But it's this color. And I know you know what this, I know you recognize this feel. This is really cool and it's incredible. So I'm gonna use these two things on my lower lash line. Let's get cooking. First things first, I am going to hit my lower lash line with the Lock It Down eyeshadow primer. Gently blend that in. Now, I really want this to show up most of all. So I'm gonna get in there. Wow, that is such a soft eyeshadow product. And I'm gonna get it on the brush pretty intense. Like I want a fair bit. And I'm gonna push that in. Oh yeah. push that in right under the front of my eye. And I'll blend it towards the back. Just gonna run my finger to bring it towards the back. And then for the back, that's when I'm gonna use the Duochrome Liquid eyeshadow, Duochrome Liquid eyeshadow. I love this color, oh my gosh. Like again, look at this, unbelievable. It looks really purple here, but then when I take it out of the direct light, it looks more green. So let's just try this. I'm gonna add a streak of this under the back of my eyelid, my eyelash line. Just going to tap it, very interesting. I see a bit of the pink. It's subtle, but I think it's just the right amount of pigment for what I want this to be. So again, right at the back. Not bad, not bad. To really wrap up the eyeshadow portion here, I would do eyeliner. I was considering just doing a black liquid liner, but I think the black would overpower all of the shadows and it would kind of like conceal all this work we did. So instead I'm gonna use an angle brush and that Alley Cat shadow from the Matte About You palette instead. And I'm going to create my liner using that super dark green shadow rather than a black liquid. But I'm gonna use the standard shape that I do, which is like a double cat eye, just because that's what I find is the most flattering on myself or what I like the most for myself. But in theory, you know, whatever eyeliner style you want. Bulbasaur doesn't wear liner. Take some creative liberty. And I'm just gonna intensify that lash line as well. I am embarrassed to admit I ran out of false lashes. I don't know why I'm embarrassed about that. I just feel like I should put a false lash on if I'm putting this much work into my eyeshadow. But I don't have any falsies with me, so I'm just gonna go right into mascara. I'm using my usual. This is the e.l.f. Cosmetics Lash and Roll. Although I would love recommendations on a good mascara to wear by itself. Like if you want a mascara to really show off your lashes and you're not gonna wear a falsie, what would you wear? What mascara do you swear by? Let me know. I'll check it out. I've heard good things about NARS mascara. Maybe I should give that a go. And after mascara, I'm also gonna add the tails of my brows with this Ultra Precise Brow Pencil. Fill in the back. Alrighty, I feel like the eyes are at a pretty good spot. There's a few more things I wanna do though. I've got these gorgeous NARS blushes and I picked these 3 shades because they're all really pink and they remind me of the pink in the Bulbasaur and Evolution color palette. So the first one is the shade Thrill. It's this really pale bubblegum pink. This is so pretty, oh my God. Then we've got the shade Dominant, which is this more robust, I don't know if I would say berry pink, but it's a hot pink, actually. That's a good way to describe it. And then the last one is the shade Teased, which is this really almost purpley fuchsia. So with these 3 shades, I'm thinking I want to do something fun with the cheeks. I'm going to start with the palest shade so I can build up instead of starting really dark. I'm going to start really fair. So I'm going to get that on a blush brush, like a dual fiber kind of setup, so it's really sheer going on. And I'm going to start that just under my eye area. Now, because I'm not super fair, this might not really even show up, but I want to see how it goes on. Because NARS blush is good stuff. Okay, I am seeing it. I'm sure you can see it as well. Maybe this is as much blush as I'm going to go for. I just wanted to bring more pink into the look, and I feel like that's doing it, actually. I'm keeping it really angular, going this way. Okay. I love these other 2 blushes, but I don't think I want to go more intense than that with blush. Instead, what I'm gonna do is actually do some pink freckles, some very hot pink freckles using this Cheekbone Beauty lipstick in the shade Hockey. Cheekbone Beauty is a really cool brand. It's a Canadian Indigenous owned brand. I love this stuff. I'm gonna use this on a little paintbrush actually to create really bright hot pink freckles. So I've got my lipstick, I've got my paintbrush. I'm gonna get the paintbrush loaded up. How does that look if I start? All right, not bad. So I'm just gonna draw these freckles on with this paintbrush and this lipstick, just dabbing the lipstick in little dots across my cheekbone area, under my eyes. And then I'll take my finger and just tap them out to make them softer and appear more natural like freckles. There's more variance that way. If they're too consistent or too round, they won't look like freckles so much as polka dots. The more that I look at the blush that I put on, the more obsessed I am. What was the shade? Thrill? Oh my God, I'm obsessed. It looks so cute. I would never have thought to use this color on myself, but it's so cool. You know what? It's such a cool pink. It really stands out. Oh, I'm obsessed. That's gotta be my new favorite blush, y'all. Look out. I'm entering my bright pink blush era. Is that cringe? Did I just post cringe? Okay, I'm not 100% sure if you can even see these pink freckles, but I think I'm about where I should stop with them. looking in the mirror. So I'm going to stop with them. And I think there's two more things that I want to do. I want to add a highlight. I'm kind of thinking I should add on my cheekbones a little bit of that jelly eyeshadow I used as a base on my eye for the pink. Just on my finger here as a cheekbone highlight. I'm just going to gently tap it right. Oh, wow. Yeah, just right there. I don't want too much of this. I'm also not going to put it on my nose, just right on the tips of my cheekbones. Cute. Yeah. Ooh, ooh. I feel like I'm cooking with this, y'all. I'm giving, I'm serving. Eating, whatever you might want to call it. I feel like we need some Bulba up in here, you know? Some Bulbasaur. And to capture that, you know, I mentioned earlier in the video, his cute little dinosaur spots, his like little speckle weckles, his cow spots. I'm gonna do those. Let me grab a product for that. So what I've got for his Bulbasaur Spots is the e.l.f. Cosmetics H2O Proof Inkwell Liner in the shade Dark Envy. It's a dark green. It's not super dark. As you can see, it's like a foresty green liner. So I'm gonna do some kind of dinosaur spots, little geometric shapes, like scales almost, up in the temple area. So around here, I'll do the outlines first and then I'll fill them in. I'm gonna do 3 spots on each side. I'm gonna fill those in now with the same eyeliner and then I'll decide if I wanna do more. Just a couple little Bulba spots, you know what I mean? Just a couple. Maybe I put like a few down here. What do you think? Is she getting carried away? I think that's probably enough, to be honest. I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead. I am, however, going to just add a teensy hint more blush. Just a couple more freckles. Now, originally my plan was to do a bright fuchsia lip with this lipstick. But I think given the amount of pink and then also the Bulba spots and whatnot, I think we might want to go for a nude instead. Maybe with a little hint of bubblegum pink. What I'll do is I'm gonna start by kind of blanking my lips out with this e.l.f. Cosmetics Pout Clout Lip Plumping Pen in one of the really fair shades. I don't actually know what it's called, but admittedly because the name is so small, I can't even read it. I think it might be a peach shade, but as you can see for me, it's more or less a skin tone lip color that really nudes out my lips. I might just go into that Thrill blush if I can find it. I'm still not over this. I'm not over this shade. I can't believe it. Let's add a little bit of this to my lip area. I'll do that in the form of an eyeshadow brush. Just gonna load it up with that Thrill blush. Stunning. And let's just tap it on. Oh yeah, this was the move. We got to top all that off with a Pokémon X ColourPop lip gloss. This is from the Ultra Glossy Lip Trio they released. This is the blue shade, which is Waterstone. It's kind of a pearlescent, cool toned, glittery gloss. Just as a little finishing touch. I think I'm obsessed with this. I think this slaps. I think this is the best of the 3 Pokemon looks I've done. I'm sorry you had to wait so long for it. Let me set it. I'm going to use my Urban Decay All-Nighter Spray. I'm still working through this before I get the one size one, but I'm just going to top the whole face with that so it stays put. Now, I don't know about you, but I got some hot girl gaming to do. Thank you so much for joining me. My name has been Stef Sanjati. I hope you've enjoyed this Pokemon-inspired makeup look. This does conclude the original trio series that I was planning on doing with Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur to celebrate the release of this last year, this amazing ColourPop collab with Pokemon. But let me know if there's another Pokemon that you want to see a look inspired by that is not part of that original trio, and I'll see if I'll just add Pokemon to the list, because I don't know how many, there's like 1,025 Pokemon at this point, I'm pretty sure. That's 1,025 potential videos. So let me know if there's other Pokemon you want to see a look based on, and I'll see about, you know, doing one every once in a while. to add to this series. As a reminder of what I said in the intro of this video, I am returning to full-time content creation. I had a wonderful time over the last 3 years working with Padia Gaming, and I'm still working with them in the beauty world doing streams for e.l.f. Cosmetics, but for the most part, I am a free agent doing full-time content creation again as of this month, so I'm really excited to get it back out there. Please follow me on Instagram. Blue Sky I'm now on as well. I'm still on Twitter, and I'm never going to call it anything else. And Twitch as well. Twitch is the big one. If you want to hang out with me while I'm live playing video games, please come hang out with me on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Stef Sanjati. I'd love to have you. But most of all, if you like this video, please subscribe, give it a like, a comment. Any engagement whatsoever really helps the growth of the channel and will help get the gears going again on all of the different socials that I'm posting on. So any support you can offer in the form of engagement is greatly, greatly appreciated. I really do appreciate it. I want to be here making videos for you, whether it comes to beauty stuff, gaming stuff, I want to do it all. And the more that you engage, the more I'll be able to do that. So thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you have any questions about the look, the products I use, anything like that. And until next time, just remember, you can express yourself however you damn want. You can do anything at any moment. You can choose to express yourself. You don't have to check with others before you choose what's acceptable for you, okay? That's the lesson I'm trying to learn again. I used to be so good at that. What the hell? Life comes in waves. We go up and down, up and down, up and down, and I am on an up streak, okay? So let's keep it going. You and I together, we're gonna have fun. Thank you. I'll see you again soon. Bye!